Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite_UK, a place where you can stay updated with and explore engaging sports stories, including rugby, football, and more. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos.
When I heard the news that back row forward Tom Curry might suffer a calf injury before an important match for the England team, I didn't just think about a player in pain. I also thought about an entire system that has to adapt to uncertainty. This story unfolds in the context of the Six Nations Championship, a tournament where every match carries significant weight. England had been preparing to face Italy, followed by a challenging trip to Paris to take on France. Yet sometimes just a few minutes during warm-up can change every plan. I imagine the moment when Curry was named in the starting lineup, only to leave the warm-up later with a limp. 2 physiotherapists helped him off the field. It's a familiar image in professional sport. Yet every time I see it, it still feels a little heavy. Not because injuries are rare. On the contrary, they are far too common. But behind every injury is a story of effort, expectation, and sometimes even sacrifice.
A player is more than just a name on the team sheet. I often think about Curry's role in the England squad. He isn't simply a flanker. Over the years, he has become part of the team's core structure. When I look at the statistics showing how often he has appeared in recent England tests, I realize how valuable consistency can be. Not every player can maintain performance and fitness in the demanding environment of international rugby. Curry is the kind of player whose presence brings reassurance. Not because he constantly produces spectacular highlights, but because he provides durability. He does the work that sometimes goes unnoticed, competing for possession, supporting in defense, applying pressure at the breakdown. In rugby, those small details often decide the outcome of a match. That's why when a player like him faces the possibility of missing a game, the impact goes beyond one empty position. It affects the rhythm of the entire team, the perspective of an observer. Sport is always tied to uncertainty. When I read the comments from head coach Steve Borthwick, I sensed caution. He said there was no official medical report yet, but the chances of Curry playing were very low. It's a familiar way of speaking in professional sport, avoiding premature conclusions while preparing for the worst-case scenario.
This makes me think about an aspect that fans sometimes overlook: preparing for uncertainty. A coach doesn't just design tactics for a match. He must also prepare solutions when things don't go according to plan. Injuries are one of the hardest factors to control. A strong team isn't one that never has injuries. A strong team is one that can still function when injuries occur, when an empty position creates opportunity. If Curry cannot play, England's number 7 position will need a replacement. Here, I see an interesting side of sport. Every difficulty often opens the door to opportunity. The most immediate candidate is Sam Underhill. He already replaced Curry in the match against Italy and is the most natural option. But England does not have only one choice. Names such as Henry Pollock and Chandler Cunningham-South have also been mentioned. Each brings a different style. Some are strong in contests, some are effective ball carriers, others bring youthful energy. It reminds me of how a team builds squad depth. A national team is not just the 15 players on the field. It is an entire ecosystem of players ready to step in when their names are called. The pressure of playing in Paris.
If Curry cannot recover, England's next challenge becomes even tougher when they face France. Paris has always been a difficult venue in European rugby. The atmosphere of the stadium, the support of the home crowd, and the powerful playing style of the French team force any visiting side to prepare carefully. In that context, missing a key back row player is certainly not ideal, but sometimes situations like these reveal the true character of a team, something I always think about: the health of athletes. When watching sport, I often notice how easily we become absorbed in results, who wins, who scores, who makes mistakes. But behind those numbers are real human bodies. A calf injury may sound minor. Yet for a rugby player, it can affect nearly every movement: running, accelerating, turning, even maintaining balance during contact. I always feel that the most important question right now is not whether Curry can play the next match. The important thing is whether he can recover completely. An athlete's career is longer than a single game. The growth of a national team, looking at the broader picture, this situation also reflects the development of the England team. In elite sport, no team keeps its strongest lineup forever. Injuries, generational change, and fluctuations in form are inevitable.
A great team must learn to adapt. Perhaps this is also the moment for younger players to prove themselves. I think about names like Jack Kenningham and Greg Fizela, players who might receive an opportunity. One appearance for the national team can change a player's entire career, and sometimes those opportunities come from situations nobody wanted. When reflecting on this story, I realize that sport mirrors many aspects of life. We often plan for the future with great certainty, but reality always includes factors beyond our control: an injury, an unexpected event, a sudden change. What matters is not avoiding these things completely, because sometimes that's impossible. What matters is how we respond. From Curry's situation and the story of the England team, I remind myself of a few things. First, consistency and resilience often matter more in the long run than brief moments of brilliance. Second, we should always be prepared for unexpected situations. And third, health, whether in sport or in life, is always the most important foundation. As fans, I think we should also view sport with more empathy.
A player will not always perform at their peak. A team will not always have a perfect lineup. Injuries are part of the game. Instead of focusing only on results, sometimes we should also appreciate the journey and the effort of those involved. In the end, this story makes me think about something very simple. In any field, sport, work, or life, no one can avoid difficult moments. What defines us is not where the hardship happens. It is how we face it. The team may lose a key player, yet it must continue moving forward. An athlete may suffer an injury, yet must patiently recover, and each of us, in our own way, must learn to adapt to the imperfections of life. When I think about the situation involving Tom Curry and the England team, I see more than just a sports news story. I see a story about the fragility of the human body, the responsibility of a collective, and how new opportunities can emerge from difficult moments. Whether Curry returns in time or not, I believe England will enter their next match with the highest competitive spirit. And for me personally, this story is a reminder: sport is not only about winning and losing. It is also about the human journey, filled with effort, challenges, and hope.
Thank you for following Scrum Masters Elite_UK. If you enjoy in-depth stories and analysis about rugby, be sure to subscribe and join us for upcoming videos.